Welcome to a conversation with our Amber Grant winner for December 2022. Yes, it's already 2023. Today, we have the pleasure of chatting with Michelle Dudash, who's the founder of SPICEK, and she is last month's winner. I'm Marsha Layton Turner, and I'm one of several Women's Net Advisory Board members, and I always get the pleasure of talking to our winners. So, Michelle, thank you so much for your time today. I'm really excited to dig into some interesting information about your business.
Marsha, thank you so much for having me. I am absolutely thrilled to be here.
So let's start at the beginning and have you tell everybody about SpiceKick, what you do, where the idea came from. Just give us some background.
Sure. Yeah. So I started the company, or the brand, I should say, 3 years ago. I'm a registered dietitian, a cordon bleu certified chef, and a cookbook author. So I've been in the food business since I was 14 years old. I started in restaurants, and I always knew I wanted to start a food company. But it was, it was like coming up with the right product, coming up with something that hasn't been done before. So, and of course, the financial side is, yeah, we can't forget about that. So, after being in the cookbook world and media world and restaurant world for most of my career, I finally came up with the idea. And I happened to be cooking over the stovetop, making my family's dinner. And I used this taco packet that probably many of our viewers have used there before.
Yep.
But I thought to myself, gosh, my family loves this. It took me 15 minutes. I made it in one pan. But what I didn't feel great about were a lot of the ingredients inside the packet. So that is literally when the idea hit me. I thought, I can create my Michelle Dudash recipes. I can create clean eating recipes made with real food ingredients that I feel good about. And I think that a lot of other people feel good about feeding their family. So I started with the taco packet. I brought it to my friends. They loved it. They said I would buy that. So that was literally what spurred me. And of course, 3 years later, now I have 8 flavors of seasoning mixes that are in grocery stores. It's amazing.
That's awesome. And so what are some, I'm curious now and I'm getting hungry.
Yeah.
What are some of the flavors? So you have the taco packet and the what other?
Yes. Yeah, I have some little eye candy here to show
they
you
look
today. So I
great.
have my taco. Yeah, thank you. So I will say this is not the original packaging. My original brand name, by the way, was Dash Dinners, which I loved. A lot of people loved it, but guess what? I couldn't trademark it. And that is a really big tip for people. Your name, you really want to talk to somebody and make sure your name isn't too similar. It was Dash. Think of brands that might have the word Dash in it. Didn't occur to me. We have a chili packet. We have a tuna salad. This is actually my number one seller. So yeah, then I rebranded as SpiceKick. Have the trademark. So excited. It is a registered trademark. And this designer that I hired was amazing. She's a local designer. And I'm so happy with how it turned out. Sloppy Joe is another big seller. So it's kind of a mix of nostalgia foods, things that are staples that you want to eat all the time for lunch. But there's also some interesting ones, like we have tikka masala. So people that it's kind of like recreating the restaurant experience, but you have control over the ingredients. You are probably saving a ton of money, by the way, cooking this for yourself. I was ordering way too much takeout, by the way. And so I thought, I want flavors like ramen that I can just whip up with staple ingredients. So you add your protein, something you probably have on hand, like chicken breast, chicken thigh. If you're vegetarian, maybe a can of chickpeas. You add your veg and you just follow the recipe on the back. And usually you're just adding that protein, veg, a little water, and that's it. Super easy. Super easy. I'm not a huge meal planner, I will admit, and these do the meal planning for you. You just keep these in your pantry and you have dinner.
Love it. And so what are some of the stores that you're currently in?
Yeah, so I live in Indiana, by the way, and so I'm in Market Wagon, which is an online farmers market across the Midwest. I'm in Needler's Market, which is it's a really nice grocery store there's 10 stores in Indiana. I'm in 3 of them right now. As soon as I get my next big batch of production, I'm planning on getting into more, but that's a logistic thing, right? Having enough supply. And then nice butcher shops, like in my area, there's a number of great butcher shops that have local meats. And so I'm in a number of those as well.
That's so smart. I wouldn't have thought of that. That's really smart, because when are you thinking about, the spices that you would need, but when you're buying the meat for your meal? Very smart.
Yes. Yeah. And of course, we're on Amazon, by the way. So it's crazy. Sometimes I'll see orders come through to Hawaii, or I mean, it has gone all over the place through Amazon. So that is the gift of Amazon. I'm able to help people get dinners on the table all over the place. So it's pretty cool.
Fantastic. So
Thanks.
you really have accomplished a lot in just 3 years. What do you think has been the secret to your success thus far?
Well, of course, I picked a product that I knew, and that is food. And of course, it's a better for you food product. And of course, as a dietitian, that was huge. I didn't try to start in a whole new industry. I'm sticking to what I know. But of course, there are still a lot of things to learn. I knew nothing about getting into retail, about wholesale, about any of that. So I knew the food and the kitchen and the nutrition side. Another thing is so important. It's easy to forget. Just start. I started really scrappy. I didn't start out with $100,000, budget. I literally ordered some bulk seasoning mixes, or not mixes, sorry, individual ingredients in bulk from a spice vendor, a spice warehouse. I ordered craft pouches from a pouch company. I ordered labels from a label company. I designed it myself, because this is gorgeous, right? But this does cost some money,
Right.
and it took time for me. And you want to test your product. You want to test before. And I know, of course, some food companies can come out with this from the get-go. They have piles of money, but if you don't let that be a barrier. I started at my farmer's market. It's an amazing way to test. I highly recommend that. Don't overlook your local farmer's market. Find the one that is probably right for you. Of course, mine just happens to be 10 minutes from my house, which is amazing. I'm building that community. So starting scrappy, just getting started. And then you have to be willing to do everything. I'm the delivery driver. I'm production. I'm about to hand that off, thankfully. Fulfilling orders. You just have to be willing to do all those things, because do whatever you can. Design was not my forte. I hired somebody eventually. So the things that you really don't know how to do, hire for those. But the things that you can at least get it done, and get it done decently, do, because all these people and services cost money. And so once you're creating larger batches, you're going to need even more money. So it's really prioritizing how you spend your money. And we can't forget, know your costs and your margins and how much you need to sell it for. It's harder to raise your prices later. So really figure out, and it's easy to think, oh, well, once I'm making this much product, my costs will come down. But guess what? Then you're going to have to hire designers. Then you're going to have to buy display boxes. There's always new costs involved. So really get your pricing based on what your costs are, and then just go from there.
But I love how you started that whole explanation, and just do it.
Yeah.
Just get started, because only then will you start to get market reactions, and
Yeah.
you can take, based on the feedback, then you can perfect whatever it is that you're planning on. So I love that. Great
Thank you.
advice. So now that you've won the $10,000 Amber grant, how do you intend to leverage that money to use it to grow SPICEK?
Yes, this is a major game changer. I have been stressing the last few months because I knew, so I've been making it myself for the last 3 years, but this year, because it's growing, the brand is growing, I'm getting into more retailers. I want to get into more chains, but to do that, you need to give them confidence that you can supply the product, that much product. So I am doing much larger batches, which requires cash. So that, and I have 8 flavors. So that is, if there's any left, I'll of course be able to do some updated display boxes, but it's mostly going to the actual product, because I'm buying in such large batches now.
That's great. I love to hear that because that means that you're anticipating more sales. It's going to just start this whole sort of growth
Yeah.
engine to get more product out, to be able to sell more, to be able to get more product out. So way to go. So
Thank you.
you sort of touched on your future plans. Can you tell us a little bit about where you see the company in like 3 to 5 years? You're going to be in more stores. Like, what does that look like?
Definitely in more stores. This year, I'm focusing on distribution. Currently, I self-distribute, which means I literally deliver the product myself, which is actually great starting out. You learn so much when you deliver your product. You're talking to those buyers, those store managers. But you really have to focus on sales. And that's another tip, focusing on those sales. So my goal is to get larger chains. I'm about to get into one. It's not a done deal quite yet, but I will be sharing that soon.
Great.
It's going to be happening any day. And that's 50 stores, for example. So it's growing into those larger chains. And then that's a regional chain. But then, of course, the end goal, getting into national chains, getting into national distribution, which it will happen before the 3-year mark. Right. But it's going to be a build. It's going to be a gradual build. One distributor told me, you got to walk before you run.
Yeah.
And that is so true.
Awesome. Well, what's some advice that you would give some of the women who are watching this video? They're thinking about starting a business, or maybe they're newer to starting a business. What would you recommend that they do at this stage?
Sure. One thing I really recommend is apply to accelerators. I've actually applied to few. One I've gotten into. You just have to keep trying. But they are, if you feel like you have your even depending, maybe you haven't launched your product yet. I found one in Indiana, for example, and that was a focus on small business digital marketing, access to mentors. Instead of paying these consultants, you try to find mentors. You meet new people. An accelerator will definitely help you with that. Okay, even if you don't get into accelerator, when you're out talking to people, if somebody shows, that you guys can maybe kind of hit it off a little bit, grab a little coffee or a Zoom or an email or whatever they're willing to share with you. But that can really help you from making costly mistakes. Focusing on sales is another big tip. You have to have, there are literally 1,000 things I could be working on at any given time.
Yeah.
But one of the best tips I got actually through the accelerator that I did is focus on sales. Because if you don't have sales, your business is not going to survive. And you have to be able to cover that overhead. And then, of course, once you're covering that, that's when you can finally, get to a profit, assuming your COGS, your cost of goods sold, are in line. So that is a big thing. And that's really what I focused on last year. Once I had my grocery store packaging, is just walking into grocery stores, markets, just pitching. I was literally, I still do it, pitch buyers, the grocery store managers right then and there. Yeah. And so you just have to sell yourself. So have that confidence, be fearless, and be persistent. I have literally been like this one store I'm about to get into. We're on 3 months right now.
Okay.
And I'm still not quite, now it's like the final step. But not to sound negative, but they don't really care about you. I'm just a little spice company. I am passionate. No one's going to be more passionate than you. So you just have to be consistent, persistent, and just not give up. You have a depressing day and you didn't get any orders. Well, okay, tomorrow's a new day. You just have to keep at it, keep networking, stay out there, and the rewards will come.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for spending some time with me, sharing your story, Michelle. It's been super interesting. And congratulations again on being our December Amber Grant winner.
Thank you so much.